we'll get to some football related stuff. And even this, man, it's the off season. So we're going to get stories like this. But Micah Hudson, who's at Texas A&M now, former 5-star wide receiver, spent his freshman season at Texas Tech. Only had 8 receptions last year for Texas Tech, but Coach Joey McGuire said he was dealing with injuries. Right when he came back, the injury popped back up again, and they had hope for him. But it's been kind of a wild month, I would say, because there were rumors of what his NIL deal looked like and different things like that leaking out. It appears that he has stepped away from the team at Texas A&M, a program that it's not like Hudson's their only addition at the receiver spot, as they've picked up multiple big-time talents. They've also lost some of their own in terms of Noah Thomas heading to Georgia. But this is a situation where it looks like the team is sticking by him. The coaching staff is with him. There's been some rumors of mental health situation here. So we hope the best for Micah Hudson, a very talented player. But it looks like A&M may not be relying on him at this point. They're trying to get him back, but not relying on him as they're continuing to try to add pieces to that receiver room.
Yeah, so we saw, obviously, you hope the situation resolves for the best for Micah Hudson, extremely talented player, former 4-star, poised for a big role with Texas A&M's revamped receiving core. I could think of a similar situation with a sabbatical with a Javion Cohen, right? A offensive guard for at that time, the Alabama Crimson Tide, really big time player who was a starting caliber player who took us some time off, in his case for mental health reasons, returns to the team, ultimately transfers to Miami, has a really good season now with the Cleveland Browns. So worked out for Cohen. There were no really other sabbaticals that I'm aware of after that one. But that was, considered unusual at the time, different than what you're used to seeing, but it resolved for the best. So that's the closest analog I could say for a Micah Hudson that I can think of where that's happened before. And that one worked out for the best. He transferred from Alabama ultimately, but he did start games after that for Alabama. I believe he started a full season for Alabama after that, played well, then transferred to Miami, really more for NIL reasons and things like that, and had a great season there, now with the Cleveland Browns. So hopefully you see similar success for Hudson when he returns. I don't think that Texas A&M is going to wait around necessarily. You've added Kevin Concepcion. You've added Mario Craver, athletic guys. Hudson was going to be another young player with Craver to sort of develop in the future along with your young quarterback in Marcel Reed. But you have to replace Noah Thomas, who's your big receiver who went to Georgia. And I don't think there's going to wait around here for Hudson. You do see reports that Harrison Wallace, who is originally from the South, from the Deep South, not from Texas, but from the South, will be visiting Texas A&M on Saturday. And Harrison Wallace, this is the Penn State leading receiver, very, very physically talented player, over 200 pounds, and someone who has, this has been a much maligned receiving core for Penn State, but he was their leading receiver. He made plays in big games. He's a big body. If you're looking for a Noah Thomas replacement, maybe Harrison Wallace from Penn State is that. And then Micah Hudson, when he comes back, he's sort of a bonus. A young player developed down the road. Wallace plugs that immediate hole, which is a big one with Noah Thomas leaving as your top receiver.
Yeah, I was trying to think of any other guys who have had these sabbaticals, so to speak. I thought maybe Tyrann Mathieu, but he was just dismissed from the team.
Yeah, and this is not that. They're very clear that they're with Hudson every step of the way. They expect him back. All good. The message out of Texas A&M is a positive one, not like, hey, this guy just disappeared on us or something like that, where it's a little more, there's negative energy coming out of the situation. They're more like, hey, we're supporting him. We're in on this. We expect him to have a big career here at Texas A&M. That seems to be echoed by Texas A&M insiders, just from what I've seen, kind of browsing the forums and hearing some of the insiders give their perspective. But, just us on the outside, I'm excited to see Micah Hudson in this offense. He's not relied upon to do everything. You did bring in Craver, you did bring in Concepcion, but he was going to have a much bigger role than he had last year at Texas A&M and sort of grow with that young quarterback. So we'll see what happens here with his situation. But I applaud Texas A&M for moving quickly to bring Harrison Wallace on campus and say, listen, Hudson, take care of what you got to do. Micah, take care of what you got to do. But we're going to get a big receiver here because we lost a big piece of our offense in Noah Thomas to Georgia.
Oh, we talk about it all the time. These top level programs, and I consider A&M in that tier where talent acquisition is everything. You only have so many windows where you can go out and get guys. It's not the NFL where you can week by week add guys to your roster if someone goes down or you lose someone due to a situation like this, which seems unfortunate right now. So you got to stock up, and that's what these guys are doing. Stock up now when you can, when there's a talent on the market that you feel like you can add to the mix, and it just breeds more competition at that spot.
Yeah, no question. Again, for Texas A&M, offensively, this is clearly being built around your young quarterback, Marcel Reed. So it's all about getting him the pieces he needs to be successful. Because if you have, he's a true freshman last year, and he did some nice things. But you look at the numbers for Reed, the Nashville, Tennessee native. Sorry, he's a redshirt freshman last year. I apologize. He had 240 attempts, 147 completion, 61%. 1,864 yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 INT, 7.8 yards per carry. So he was, effective, relatively efficient. This is the big one. Ran for 547 yards and 7 touchdowns. So he can run by building this receiving core, being so aggressive and adding guys. They're truly trying to bring out the passing game for Reed and develop him that way because you do have multiple years of eligibility. If you can get a true homegrown dual threat passer that you don't have to go in the portal and get somebody very expensive, you'll have a much better chance of building the rest of your roster to be SEC caliber, including that defense, which we know Mike Elko is extremely passionate about.
I know some people might get on me in the comments for referring to A&M as a top tier program because they don't have the national championships. They're not consistently in that race, but I look at them as a program that they are top tier in the sense that they invest in their program. They invest in coaches, they invest in players. We understand that they have the wealth of resources, but they're aggressive in using them. So that's what I'm talking about in today's day and age. If you want to compete at that level, you need to do what they do in that sense. Whether or not they make all the right decisions, you still got to do that, but they're willing to play the game.
No question. And that's why, these are big ticket items, right? Craver was a breakout player as a freshman for Mississippi State. Someone Mississippi State wanted to keep. Concepcion was the ACC Rookie of the Year a couple years ago. One of the top-ranked players in the portal. Micah Hudson, who we're talking about here, former 5-star just last year in a loaded wide receiver class. These are the guys that you see all over college football, whether it's Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, Cam Coleman, Ryan Wingo from Texas, Wesco, and more from Clemson. These are the guys that you see making plays all over the country. He was in that mix as a 5-star player. So hopefully you see him cultivate that talent in Texas A&M is giving him time so he can come back and cultivate those talents there at College Station.